Welcome everyone. This is your English language and Afro-Asian literature catch-up video class. Today's objective is to identify the meaning or context of statements in English, whether they are literal or figurative. We will also tackle the techniques on how sentences can become figurative in meaning. Heads up! Please do write the featured vocabulary word that you will see flashing on the screen as you watch this video lesson. Words you have written so far will be included in our quarterly reading comprehension quiz. This week's competency scale is related to literature. We will feature African literature for this quarter. As you watch this video, make sure you read also the related topics in your module as your reinforcement for today's lesson. Last time, I asked you to write down what you think, what your parents think, and what your siblings think about Africa. You have shared incredible thoughts, and based also from what you read about the short history of Africa, we learned that native Africans were born with dark complexion and they are proud of it. It is where the safari can be found and other wild animals such as lions and giraffes. Also, according to historical records, slave trade grew as European colonization took place in this continent. However, despite of our cultural differences, we can say that Africa is a proud country full of cultural diversities. This week's literature will be from David Diop, a French African poet who was known for his negritude literary works that raise awareness of what Black culture is all about and educate his readers of the value of races around the world. We will discuss that literature for some other time, but for now, let's prepare ourselves first of how we can fully understand poetic literature, and today's skill to be learned, we will identify statements' literal and figurative meaning. Let's check these statements in English. Which do you think has literal meaning and which has figurative meaning? Literal statements are sentences with direct message. What you read is exactly the message. For example, in this statement, it says, "It is raining a lot," and it's literally happening. Figurative statements, however, are sentences with hidden messages or meaning. The message is not directly stated, and you need to figure out first the meaning hidden for you to get the context. For example, it is raining cats and dogs. The meaning of this statement is not directly stated, but you need to figure out what raining cats and dogs mean, and that means it's raining a lot. To put it in a simple explanation, when you take both sentences literally, it is unimaginable that figurative statements can happen in reality. Raining cats and dogs is impossible to happen if we take this sentence literally. Therefore, this statement has a hidden message, which the meaning is, it's raining a lot. Literal statements are easy to be understood, but figurative statement can be tricky. So allow me to introduce some techniques on how to identify figurative statements. These are called figure of speech, and the first example is simile. Simile is a technique comparing two unlike things usually introduced by the word like or as. For example, my classmate is like a cheetah. He runs as fast as a cheetah. Notice that we use the word like to compare the word classmate to a cheetah. But this statement is impossible to happen in reality. Your classmate will never become a cheetah. So this is a figurative statement. To make it literal in meaning, the idea of this statement is just as simple as this statement. Your classmate runs fast. The next figure of speech is called metaphor. These are words that often symbolize something in your statement. For example, my mother is the queen of the house. The word queen here has a symbolism. But what does it mean? Your mom will never become a queen in your house. But the literal meaning of this statement is your mother is the ruler of your house. Next is personification. Personification gives actions to inanimate objects in your statements. For example, the trees dance as the wind blows. We know trees never dance, only people can dance. So what does this mean? This mean, in literal meaning, the trees sway as the wind blows. Another example of figure of speech is called onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia are words that mimic sounds in your sentence. For example, the police exchange boom, blam, bang with the armed thieves. Boom, blam, bang are words that represent a sound. But what sound does it represent? To put literal meaning to this statement, the police exchange gunshots with the armed thieves. The last figure of speech in my list is called hyperbole. Hyperbole are words or ideas that are exaggerated in your sentence. For example, I love you so much that I will catch the stars for you. We all know that you cannot catch the stars. That is exaggeration. So what does this statement mean? The literal meaning for this statement is like this. I love you so much that I will do anything for you. However, there are plenty of figures of speech out there. But for this week's literature skill, we will only focus on the 5 basic figures of speech. And with that being said, let's practice. Can you identify whether the statements are literal or figurative? In your notebook, write literal if the statement has literal meaning. Write figurative if it has figurative meaning. In addition, if it's figurative, identify what figure of speech is used in that statement. Remember that we learned 5 figures of speech in this lesson. They are simile, metaphor, personification, hyperbole, and onomatopoeia. Let's start. Number 1. She is feeling under the weather. Number 2. The sun sets in the west. Number 3. Erika jumps like a kangaroo. Number 4. The teacher explained the instruction a million times already, but the students just simply don't understand it. Number 5. The candle cries fast as its brightness fades. We have covered the basic skill of understanding statements in literature. I hope this video lesson helped you as a preparation for our output this Thursday. Please do an advanced reading of the poem Africa by David Diop, which you can see in your module. That will be all for now. Let's catch up some lessons again next time with me.